Yeah, what an exciting time of year for Texas Tech, and especially in athletics. Great run of teams and how competitive we are. Just teams that have given us a chance to, really honestly elevate what we're doing around the entire university. So I'm so excited. I'm such a big fan of football and soccer and all what we're doing around here. It's wild to think that we're already starting basketball, but it's here. We're looking forward to the 4th and playing Lindenwood. We've got a long way to go as a team to get where we want to get, and we've got a lot of improvements that need to be made. But, man, I love this group. I love our team. I love our competitiveness. I love who we are on and off the floor. And we're excited to get the season started.
Where do you see this team's potential for, via where they are right now?
Well, we've got obvious offensive talent that's returned. I mean, when you return the player of the year and a guy that was on the all-freshman team, and I think we've just put together the right mix of offensive players. Where our biggest areas, and we've made this very clear from the beginning, is just how much better can we get defensively. And this group has embraced that. And really, it's the continuity of your ability in practice to play against each other that makes you better. And I'm not going to comment on specific guys and injuries today, but we haven't had enough continuity, and we don't have anybody I feel like that's going to be out for an extended period of time, but we just haven't had enough continuity to really push ourselves to a level where I feel like I know exactly who we are. I love our talent. I just know we've got to improve on the defensive side of the ball significantly if we're going to get where we want to get.
Going from the Oklahoma to the Iowa scrimmages, what did you kind of see enhanced, better? What did you see overall?
Well, in the Iowa scrimmage, we did take a pretty significant lead in the second half, and it really was about our us getting stops. And early in the game, we didn't play our best offensively, but I loved the way we settled in. It's the lineups where you get to play JT with some size, with Mariel. Those are the kind of lineups that I think once we get in a Big 12 play and we play against these bigger physical teams that can really make us better on the defensive end. And then how do you blend what you're doing where you've got maintained some offensive aggressiveness and flow. And JT's I think he's just improved. And I know that's hard for people maybe to think, but he's gotten better. And so that's where we've made some strides from that first game to the second game.
I know you're going to take each game as they are, but these first two before you kind of get into Illinois, are there certain aspects you kind of want to get established, like playing two bigs together, JT plus the big beside him, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think to start with this team, we've got the most experience on our team is the guard play, though. I mean, you got Donovan Atwell and Tyree Bryan and Lawan Watts. I mean, all those guys have played significant minutes at the college level, which gives you that advantage with Christian Anderson. And then you got the newcomers like Jalen Petty and Nolan Groves. And, with the switchability of these teams we play early, like a Lindenwood, they'll have some good size, but a lot of these teams are going to be more guard heavy. So the switchability and playing guards is probably an advantage too. But to your point, we'd love to see lineups where we can get our size on the floor together. And that's really where I think the progression will ultimately take us over the course of the season. But early, I would anticipate us, kind of just trying to figure out a way to win that specific game, like you said.
What areas are you specifically hoping that Lindenwood challenges you at, and do you have any familiarity with the Lindenwood program?
Well, I do know that Lindenwood making that jump, and you know how this is at this level with the way the turnover is and the way teams are. I mean, you don't have to look farther than Baylor to know that this affects everybody. I mean, they have every new play, every player on their roster is new. So I think, although I have so much respect for Lindenwood, having played in Division II and knowing the progression that they've made over the years to get to this level, they've got a good team. and they've got enough talent that I know in some key components where they bring back guys. That's what concerns you. They bring back some guys that I think can really play. And so, but our focus, honestly, right now is how do we get better every day? And that's what I would tell you is my mindset is we respect Lindenwood. We know they're going to bring a lot of areas that will end up making us better. But our 100% focus is how do we get better every day individually and as a team with the areas that I know we're going to be exposed, and I know Lindenwood will try to do that.
A year ago, you guys kind of dealt with injuries early in the season and had JT kind of more of a guard role. I mean, what did you learn from a year ago that you can implement as you work guys back into the lineup this year?
Oh, it's just a long season. We all know that. I mean, the plan is how do you play your best basketball in March, but we learned this last year. You dictate how you end up competing and the opportunities you get in March in the early season. I mean, people don't look at the end and go like, well, they're playing good at the end necessarily. So, I mean, these games, all of them matter, and that's what I'm trying to get our team to understand. If you ask me anything, I would just say it's about finding a way. It's practice mentality. It's everyday mentality. And so I'll tell you what I've learned is that you got to have just this approach that everybody's got to be ready to play, literally. And I've preached it on the sideline to people that maybe aren't practicing. I'm just like, look, when you do step out here, there is no this like, well, I get to like phase in. There's no phasing in. It's like if you get in foul trouble and you have to sit out for 25 minutes, well, when you're out of foul trouble, you got to step in and make an impact right away. So I'm just challenging our whole program to just be ready, because we have erred on the side over the course of our time here of making sure that we put ourselves in a position, and it's always the deal. How do you stay? I do think we've got a little more depth with this group to withstand some of those things where in the past it's been more difficult.
How important over the next 3 games, especially to have a true road test, will it be to play with this lineup and see where it's at before you obviously go to a tournament scenario out in the Bahamas where you can kind of get in that scenario where it kind of seems like the NCAA tournament in some ways where you have to scout teams quickly?
Well, sometimes in the preseason you play an exhibition game, and we have done that. A couple years ago we played A&M at North Texas, and this team has not had that opportunity. So this will be their first time under the lights, and you know that's different, especially playing in the United Supermarkets Arena. It's the best place to play college basketball. So for us, it'll be a little bit of managing the newness under the lights as much as anything, and the competitiveness and settling into how we practice every day. How do you put that into the game? That's what I really am hoping to see the most. I'm not even worried about anything after Lindenwood right now.
Are you expecting Watts basically to do for you what Darian Williams did last year? I mean, could you compare them a little bit?
Yeah. You know, Lawan is a unique player, and honestly, I try to stay away from comparisons in regard to this. This is what I'll tell you, is this team is unique, and Lawan Watts, I think, is really special in transition, and his physicality and his pace and his ability to create in multiple actions, he's got a real advantage with his feel. And sometimes you have feel, but it's hard to get to the next thing, and he is a fluid mover. He does have the athleticism to get to the next play, and I'll tell you, he just has a unique ability to involve himself in a lot of actions, and that's where I think he elevates our team. And he's a learner. What I love about Lawan, every day he's wanting to watch film. Every day he's wanting to spend extra time figuring out the little things that will make us better. And that, to me, will separate us as the season goes on, because that love is real for this game. And when it gets difficult, what Lawan will do will lean into the difficulty and embrace it. And I'm really excited about seeing his growth. He's not where he needs to be defensively. I mean, I'm just going to be point blank and say it. He's got to be. He moves good. His anticipation is phenomenal. He's got unbelievable hands. He's a really good defensive rebounder. But his point of attack, physicality, and guarding the ball, he's got to take some big jumps for our team to be what they need to be. And you can't just do it one time in our league. Literally. On the same possession, you may have to do it 3 times, and then you got to do it 5 trips in a row when you're exhausted. That separates our team, and that's where I've challenged him, and that's where I'll tell you he needs to make the biggest jump.
Coach, from your perspective, on the leadership side, you had Elijah, Kerwin, Darian, and Chance last year. Who stepped up as far as the roster goes in filling those positions on this team?
Yeah, I think the 2 obvious ones are obviously Christian Anderson and JT Toppin. And why? Because they've played in an Elite 8 game and had the opportunity we did to go to the Final Four, and we didn't do it. And when I talk to these guys about what we're doing as a team, they're really leaning in to embracing, they understand what we're up against. And they've practiced really hard. I mean, they've elevated their competitiveness in practice, but where they've really made a big jump and where I've challenged them and we've challenged them is just to communicate what needs to happen on the court. And that's not been their strengths. So I'll tell you, we're not where we need to be from a leadership standpoint, but our guys are embracing it. And I think specifically JT and Christian are the guys that need to continue to grow in that area.
Coach, you talk about how important guard play is for your team. As you look on your schedule, you have Darius Acuff at Arkansas, Deaton Thomas at LSU. At Mohawk Big 12 play, you have Emmanuel Sharp, LSU's in. How important is it to build trust with those guards as you go into such a guard-heavy college basketball season?
Yeah, well, if you ask me, the most difficult thing to defend is the middle of the floor when you've got ball screen angles and it's wide open, and how do you communicate all the coverages and take the confusion out and be the most aggressive you can be. And so we've definitely set a schedule up that's going to challenge us to how we defend the best players in the middle of the floor. And we're playing teams with elite guards. I mean, I got a chance to coach Darius when we were on the U18 in Argentina, and he's as good a guard. He's probably not getting the attention that he deserves. He's as good a guard as there is in the country at getting a basket. And his in and out crossover and transition is almost unguardable. So to your point, we definitely got a schedule that's going to challenge our team to get better defensively, but it'll only help prepare us like what we know we'll end up needing to face, like facing a team like Florida, in order to hopefully advance and put ourselves in a position to compete for real wins.
Coach, you talk about this is a unique team. You had guys come in and out. Over the offseason, what points of emphasis did you really just focus on in terms of the culture and where you want this team to be at?
Well, our team's just got a real character to them on and off the floor, and they came here because they wanted to be a part of winning. You know, that's it first. I mean, a lot of people are talked about, you know, financially, NIL, and, all the accolades that come with being here and playing. But honestly, what we focused on is guys that want to win. And Donovan Atwell has been awesome. Tyree Bryan's been awesome. Lawan's been awesome. They came here because they wanted to be a part of winning. And Donovan hadn't played in the NCAA tournament yet. He wants to play. Tyree Bryan hasn't. He wants to play. So, I mean, it flipped. We were recruiting guys that only played in the NCAA tournament, and then you kind of can get this mix of now guys are like, I just want to play I want to have the opportunity to compete. And it's been awesome to have a team that comes here with really the focus on how do we win as a team. It's awesome.
Still expecting Hoover and Petty to be able to help you this year?
Yeah, I think Jalen Petty's going to be an extremely impactful player for us. And I think Nolan Groves is also. I mean, Nolan played in the Iowa scrimmage and didn't necessarily get many minutes in the Oklahoma scrimmage because we were cautious with him, and he played awesome. I mean, his competitiveness and both those guys really, that's where I'm telling you, I think we've got added depth. Latrell, we're going to be cautious with. Why? Because we want him to grow as a player here. We want him to be a guy that really takes big steps. So I don't know if we'll end up redshirting him or not. We're just going to take it a day at a time. He did play in both the scrimmages and was awesome. I mean, when people come watch our practice, they're like, man, Latrell Hoover is going to be really good. And he is. It just doesn't make sense to burn years unless we're going to get the impact that we need. Jazz Henderson and Leon played great in the scrimmage against Iowa. So that's what I'm telling you. I got a lot of confidence because we've built our program in a way that we can throw guys out there, that have different, experiences and levels, and they're competing and giving us a chance to win in these games. We are going to try to really be thoughtful, though, in how we play these guys so that we help keep their eligibility in a way that benefits them in the future and doesn't just benefit us.